Hello everybody and welcome to this Fusion 360 and Blender product modeling and rendering tutorial, in which I'm going to show you how we can, based on some scans, very quickly rebuild a digital version of the NEX Playground family entertainment system. We will build the cube as well as a simplified version of the remote control. I will run you through the whole process of bringing in a scan model as references, how to set up all the necessary sketches, and then building the individual designs. Also, as you can see, everything got materials, and I will show you how we can share the materials between different Fusion 360 files, for example. And then, once the modeling is done, we send everything over to Blender together with some reference images and create a really nice product rendering. One version with a blue background with a transparent background, and one time on a solid white background, using also different cameras, for example, as you can see here. Okay, very good. Let's do it. Oh, and I forgot all the reference files and assets for this assignment is in the link in the comment section. Okay, let's do it. Let's start with the remote control. This is a really nice starter object. It is also a more simplified version of the actual design. So our first step, let's create a new file. Click on plus icon, right click, make sure the history is on. We want to have the unit system to be set to millimeters. Then we can go insert mesh, select from computer, navigate to where you have downloaded and then unzipped the reference file. And here's the NEX Playground control.obj mesh. Click open. This design was adjusted and then exported from Blender, which works in meters. So you want to work with meter as the unit system. Otherwise it's too big or too small. Click OK. There we are. Now I said, no, we're going to create a more simplified version. It's a little bit faster, also less complex, more appropriate for this task what we're doing here, loading Fusion a little bit. Our first step to do is learning the building blocks. So we can see there are some buttons, they're all circular, and then the main body looks like a rectangle with left and right rounded corners. Kind of like rounded corner, and two lines. If we go to the side view, we see this is actually a little bit straight down, and then that maybe looks like an arc, but it's not really an arc. And if we go to the front view, we see this again, this goes down, and then this is really nearly tapered, slightly curved, and then it curves more, so it looks more like an egg or something, not really a circle or ellipse. That's very easy to do in Fusion 360 with surface modeling, but it takes a little bit more finesse and time, and I tried to make this video focus on taking a scan and recreating a quick prototype. Also easier for students. So, let's go to the top view. We will create a sketch, and on the ground we can start with a circle from the center of the origin. I make somewhere another circle, then I will draw a line from circle to circle. I will also draw a line from circle center point to circle center point, then from the center point draw a line to the side, and then you can horizontally align these lines. This one is, it has it right there already, so I don't need to add it. Go to tangent constraints and make sure the lines are tangent to the arcs. Very good. Equal constraint there. Press D. The first circle is 28 because they have an equal constraint. The other one is the same. And then we can, while still having the dimension tool turned on after we press D, specify the width 130. Cool. Okay, so that's all what we need to start with. I hide the scan, and then these three sketch faces I will select and extrude down -2 millimeters. That's all I need at the beginning. And then I can select this lower profile, which, as you can see, is not kind of like what we nearly created with the sketch. Go to the revolve command, select this lower center line, and then I revolve this one down, for example, 180, and turn off create new body. Turn off join and select create new body, because I want that to be separate. You can hide this. Here we have only half of the piece, so we can select the mirror command and mirror this over. This time here we want join to be turned on, flop. And then you should see two bodies. Pretty cool. We can at this point also think about the shell, for example. Let's say 1.25 millimeters for the shell. So this lower part, which will house the batteries, for example, we shell out that way. Here's now the lid. And if I turn everything off, besides the scan, we also can see there is actually a split line. So let's create a construction plane. There, click on that Z and X plane, and we bring this over 51 millimeters. That's going to be very useful because we can call in solid mode the split body command. The lower body we will split by that plane. There, we call then the move command. You see this got separated. It's a very simplistic way how to model this, but it works. Okay, beautiful. Now, as you see, not too complicated. Und that was German, by the way. So, and then what we can do then is think about the interface elements. So I hide all these bodies. Right click, make a new group. I find this very often is easier turning off the group than always turning off these bodies. There we are. And I will go to top view, right click, edit sketch, bring in one circle, another circle. There we are. These two circles are equally constrained. They have a symmetry to the center line. So when I press escape now, you see they move perfectly the same. We give them a dimension of 10 millimeters. Escape, and yeah, that looks good. Can drag these around a little bit. Let's say 6 millimeters. That's maybe a tick too close. Let's say 6.5. Yeah, cool. Okay. Then one circle here. So we make that one 12, and one more circle 24 millimeters, and press enter. And these dimensions I can then also drag out. The mesh can sometimes be a little bit in your way when you start trying to select elements, which is why I just turned this one off. Okay, beautiful. We can click finish, and what we can do now is we select all these fragments, go to extrude, and then we just cut through. So we cut the holes in there, you see. And in the next step, then we can create the buttons. I will turn off the sketch. I will turn this one back on. I will go to this view, create a new sketch on this plane, as you can see. Then create, go to project include, and I will select this intersect command. Click on that ring and click OK. And then I have left and right snapping points. Perfect. So that's going to be very useful because what I can do now is I will draw myself here a line. So connecting these 2 points. This also overlaps here with the y-axis. There's more coincidence. I draw a line straight up. And if I show this one, the buttons is a little bit rotated. I was playing one time and unfortunately the remote control flew out of my hand. Well, you should never hold it while playing, and smacked against the wall. Then we draw a line to the left side, say be horizontal. I can draw a line straight down, and then I will use the arc command. Start from the left, go to the right, and it's not so easy to see, but you see once the arc is tangent to the line to the right side, I get the tangent command. This one. If you don't see it, you can also simply draw it this way and then say tangent, this one to there. Perfect. This line is horizontal. Very good. And I will create another arc there to there. Okay. I will draw here a line. This line is perpendicular to this line. If I delete that constraint, I can also make this horizontal. And then I say arc to this line, please be tangent. Very good. So it's a little bit difficult to see where everything is. We can go to the side view, press escape, and then this, I think we'll go to somewhere here. This can go down a little bit. We have to be careful with what we are dragging here. So there, this definitely feels like goes to there. Does this line up? Oh, that's close. So we can select, oh, look, there's a line fragment. Sometimes that happens. So delete this one, bring this back on that line. And then I think, yep, that is horizontally constrained already. We select this line, press D, 7 millimeters. That is good. What is the height here? 0.7. Beautiful. The rest is predefined. And because this is a button, it has to go down a little bit. So I'm drawing also here the rest of the missing sketch. Beautiful. Cool. Then I can hide this and check out this. With Shift left mouse button, I select those two sketch profiles. Go to revolve. Now this line was selected. There's that. Or I can go to revolve, select these two profiles, axis, and select that. Now join. Thank you. Beautiful. Cool. So that is kind of like how I then created these two buttons. They press down and this presses down a little bit. They wiggle to a degree. And they perfectly also fit in, which is the nice thing. We have very sharp edges. That is totally fine. We will deal with that later. So we have these two buttons. How can you make, for example, left and right button easy to differentiate? Well, one button could be concave and one button could be convex. What would be maybe an easy way to do this? We need two sketches for the revolve command. But how do we position them? They're perfectly in there. Can we create an axis through 2 points? Yeah. So there to there. There's an axis. Beautiful. And then we can plane at an angle, select that axis to create a construction plane. that runs perpendicular through it. Then when I turn all this off and create a new sketch on this construction plane, and you guessed it, I will do exactly the same thing again. Bring this one in, bring this one in. Thank you. Cool. This I can hide, and I will draw myself here one line, escape, and then one line there, and escape. Midpoint down, let's say 2 millimeters, and L is the line command. There's the midpoint there, 2 millimeters down. They have to be black, otherwise these lines could be rotated, which means left mouse button click. I can't actually select there. That's the perpendicular constraint. If I delete it, you see how this can rotate. Then just make this horizontally constrained. Cool. Okay. At this point, we can drag these two into that group, hide that group. So it's much easier now to work with. The left we will make concave, and the right we make convex. Easy peasy. So I will continue the sketches here, just blocking out my rectangles. We said this one we make convex, and the other one we will make concave. Actually, I dragged this one over. Oh, look, this can be rotated. Now we horizontally constrained it. These are just only helper lines. So there is the arc. So if you will be concave, the arc has to start on the outside. And here the arc, the bottom has to go down and ends at the center. And there it is. Tangent to this line. Perfect. Cool. Okay. Finish sketch. Then we go to revolve and say you rotate around this one, right click, repeat, you around this axis. Oh, look at that. Concave, convex. Easy peasy. Beautiful. Very nice. We do have actually at this point a lot of our details done. Filleting, etc. might come at one point. But before we do this, there's one last thing to do. You see here we have kind of like a cut. I messed up actually the scan. That should be on the right side. All good. How can we create this groove that runs over that surface? It's pretty easy. I want to create a sketch. Seen from here. Then I will draw a line up and a line down. I will make both lines equal, press D, and then say this is maybe 9 millimeters. Okay, and there, do I have actually a selection turned on or select through? Okay, good. And I also have the paint selection here, so brush, not window selection. Anyway, that's actually all I needed for the sketch. And now what I would like to do is I would like that sketch to project onto there. To do that, I need to create actually a new sketch. So create a sketch. It doesn't really matter what we click onto, and then I say actually hold on, because you didn't really see this. Right click, delete, make a new sketch. There I will just select this plane, and then I will call the project to surface. So on that surface I would like this and this to be projected along vector. Select the direction, that is the Z direction, and then you should see the red line. Beautiful. Cool. So what we can do now is finish sketch, go to pipe, select with shift and left mouse button these two segments, section size, let's go with 1 millimeter so we don't make this too thin. Click OK. Perfect. We have to be careful that we're not cutting through. If I go to a side view and say section analysis and click actually on this plane, click flip, and there we can see how we are cutting into the space. Well, the section actually is fine. All good. And then we can turn this off. Sketches we can also hide. And this is now a point where we can start detailing everything. I will start here, play with the fillets. So this has to be actually half of this edge. Is that 0.5? 0.5 millimeters. Okay. What's the radius? Oh, radius is 0.5. Okay, right click on the pipe feature. Yeah, 1 millimeter is a diameter, so the radius is half a millimeter. So this is correct. And then we do another fillet, 0.25, for example, to fan this out a little bit, or 0.5. Yeah, this is very easy to feel. We see all these edges. And if I go to shaded visual style, they are totally gone. To highlight them, what we can do is we're going to break these edges a little bit. I will hide this button, this button, this button, and this button, and then I will go to fillet, and then I will say, so you, you, and you, and this is the complete one for the top part. So I think there should be around, yeah, 17 edges, and then very small amount, maybe 0.1, not too much. Sure, you have done everything correctly. Yeah, all these edges should be rounded. No, actually, we needed to have 18 edges. Okay. So, oh yeah, I had select through turned on. No vent features, just by the edges. I have the brush command. I think now I can simply click, 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 click. And then simply hold the left mouse button and brush over it. That should select all the edges. There, but only on the outside. 0.1. Here was one ignored. So on a Mac, I'm holding the command key and I brush over here one more time. Click there. There's like, it's skipping actually some of those. Okay, let's do this. So I simply said okay. This one we can hide. Then I go back and say added feature. Oh, actually it shows that again. This is sometimes a little bit annoying. Body faces. So if, for example, like in your case, this doesn't work out, what else can we do? Actually, it's not really complicated. For example, I will simply do this. I say this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. This is 0.1. Thank you. Then I hit the plus. Hide this one, show that. Then I should be able to select those. 0.1. Okay. Yep, that is fine. Hide this one, show that one. Go plus, and then I click on these edges and say 0.1. So I will have one fillet command only, but I will have 3 different sets of edges. Click OK, very good. And there. Now, so you see these edges are very easy to see. If they're a tick too big, right click, go to the feature, and then we simply say 0.05. Ooh, not 5 millimeters, 0.05. So really make this tiny. 0.05 and 0.5 millimeters. Thank you. There. Now, this really looks like nice hairlines. Cool. Okay. Then we can turn that stuff off. We can show, for example, the buttons. Go to fillet, select this one and this one, 0.2 or 0.1, 0.2, maybe. And here, essentially, we do exactly the same thing. Right click. I hold the command key, click this one, click this one, click this one. Can I get all 4? Yeah, I was able to get all at the same time. Beautiful. So all these edges I was able to click on this time without any big issue. Click OK. There we are. So all these are actually nicely filleted. There. And this is maybe a moment then when we can think about the materials. So we can press A. Then we go to our library. Based on what type of finish you have, is it a matte finish or a glossy finish? Is it plastic or something? Nope, just simply pick what you need. We have here plastic as a material if you want to work with it, but I find this render is sometimes a little bit slower. And here in Paint, there's, for example, the glossy material. So this is a little bit of a whitish material. So I can just drag it in, drag this one onto all these parts which are colorized, double click, and then I can find, for example, a nice whitish color. I know this one is 220 for both. There, click done. Oh, double click, also give this a logical name. Test material. So why test material? Because now you could say right click and say copy to my appearances. Because you notice when you go to my appearances, there are all the other materials. There's, for example, my NEX Playground white, which I will drag in and drag over this one. So this is consumed. These buttons are yellowish. We'll drag this one in. There's that one. So button, and these have that blue color. Let me right click so you can see the green is 97, 206, 197, and this one is 245, 231, 138. So if you then make a new design and then go to my appearances, you will have then the same materials. This way you don't have to remix them constantly. Beautiful. Okay. So this is all actually pretty good. I want to do one little double check here. Oh, I have to close this one. There, show this one. And this sketch, right click, edit. Yeah, so this is indeed tangent. Is this horizontal? Yeah, it was horizontal. The reason why I wanted to verify this, I see a little kind of there. You can see it right there. There's looks like a little pointy thing. And this is often a giveaway that the arcs are not tangent to the other side, but this is okay. This is correct. Now, to finish this, we have to create the button textures, so that the symbols, and then we bring in the logo. The logo is also in the file. I googled the NEX logo, and then I was looking for an SVG file. This is something that's very common if you also work with other brands. They have their logos. You don't want to create the logos. So I will create a new plane. I will bring this plane a little bit higher so it's easier to see where I am. On this plane, I will create a sketch. Then, no, since I have the next logo already, I go Insert SVG, insert from my computer, and oh, there it is. There is the logo SVG. Open. It is pretty big the way how this comes in. It needs also to be rotated, and then it can be scaled. Then I can move this into position, use the grid kind of like to do a little bit of bean counting to center it roughly. So one, yeah, and there we see this is pretty centered. Click OK. Very good. So what can we do with this? Well, with this sketch, we can then go ahead and slice the surface. So split face. So this face I would like to split with this. Right click, repeat this face, split with that one, right click, repeat this one, split with this one, right click, oops, this time no, this one will be split by that one, right click, and then the leftover by that one. Cool. Okay, because now if we go to A, we have here this white. I will make a duplicate and then double click. I will lower the color and let's say white print because that's printed on it, and go to face, and then I drag this onto there. See, that's actually how easy that is. How do we do the circle stuff? That's also pretty easy. So we I will actually make a new sketch. Maybe that's simply easier. So a new sketch onto that same construction plane. Then I press P to project these outer edges. That's very important. Just the outer edges. And say, okay, there I have now the circles. I can hide this, go to the top. Where are they? There they are. Let's do the arrow, cling, 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 cling. It can be pretty chaotic. We need one horizontal line, that's important. That's a construction line. Then we have to do a lot of equal. There, horizontal for that one. Very good. And then parallel. So U to U. Ouch. That was too much. So it's undo, press D, aligned, maybe 0.75 of a millimeter. Yeah. So all good, all good. We will fix this. Ooh, slightly a little bit funny. Horizontal constraints. So maybe this point to this, we can horizontally constrain them. So they're always at the same. We also need to add some perpendicular constraints to these corners. There. You see that actually will then slowly start to tighten everything up. Still kind of funny how sometimes the sketch now jitters. So what you can do is you select one point, lock it, press escape, and then it's much easier to move the rest around. I will go to offset and bring this one down minus 1.25 millimeters, because this is kind of like a parameter I would like to have, and I will do the same, minus 1.25. Oh, where did that one go to? Minus 1.25. I said minus. There. Okay. I could even connect this one to it. Again, these are just helper lines. Cool. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Then here, maybe someone there, down, down, over, and up, and over, and down, and over onto the ring, and from there up and back. And from here, one down to the midpoint, escape. Then this line will be horizontal and construction. And then horizontal. Sorry, oh, I have all these perpendicular constraints, so this is all good. That's the reason why I got this error message. I will make these two equal. I will make these two equal. These two. I don't need to make them equal. I can just make these points. Horizontal escape, and then I can start, you see, dragging this quite nicely. And I would like to create an offset also by 0.75. So you go down, actually, yeah, minus 0.75. Okay, because I had this one turned on, these were created as construction lines, not what I want. And nope. Very good. Finish. Cool. Show the bodies. And then you guessed it, we go back to split face. This one split by that one. Whoa, what's going on here? By that one. Right click, repeat. That split by the outer one. Right click, repeat. Now the inner one by that one. Cool. Press A. Duplicate, double click. Here I say print to, and maybe make this a little bit darker, more saturated. Then we can select these two faces, apply to faces. Sweet. Close it. And there we are. There is the remote control. I do have a project folder. So for example, inside my project, I made a new folder, called it NEX Playground. And then when I go and say, for example, save this one, then you can just navigate to wherever you have that project and the folder. So then all the files can be copied right into that folder. And we are done. Okay, so with the remote control done, let's do the last object, basically the gaming cube. Also here, we simply start with creating a new design. Right click, make sure history is being captured. Also here, we want to set everything to millimeters. Then we go to insert mesh, navigate to where you have downloaded everything. There's the cube, click open and meter and okay, perfect, cool. So pretty much the same thing like what I did with the remote control, we're going to do first, trying to analyze what we have. This is actually a cube, which is horizontally sliced, and then the top volume is sliced twice to create these smaller cubes. There are kind of like grooves there. We also have a camera. We have some battery, not battery, of power and HDMI. And then here we have a pattern with these holes for cooling. Okay. Now, so not really complicated. Oh yeah, and there's kind of like an LED thing. So there are always many ways how you can start. I find in this case, what I'm using is just one way. So we'll start with a sketch from the front. I will draw here a small line up. I have no idea where this later will go to. I will hide the scan, go to create, then I will go to rectangle, center rectangle, and on the y-axis draw myself this rectangle. I will go to equal, constrain these two edges. Very good. I will press escape. Here, this vertical constraint I delete, and then drag this point to where, oh, there it is, the midpoint constraint. Because now, as you can see, with that vertically constraint again, I can left and right position it. That thing should be, let's say, 3 millimeters. Press D to add the dimension. And this should be, yeah, how big? Definitely too small. 72. 1 second. Where did it go? There. Double click. That should be 72 millimeters. That matches it pretty good. Cool. Okay, so 72 is the width and height. That means if I exit the sketch, I go to extrude and extrude this one out to being symmetrical to a distance of 72. Click OK. Good. This sketch actually we don't need anymore for the moment. So there's now our cube. We can create the rubber base or silicon base this sits on. Very simple solid modeling. We click on extrude. This goes down 3 millimeters, but as a new body. And then we select these outer faces, go to push and pull those in. Looks like -2 millimeters. Oh, it's actually maybe even less. Right click, edit, and change this to 1. Cool. Sweet. So how do we do now this slicing? And actually it's not like individual parts, they're just these grooves. Grooves are being cut around. So I need a path for how to cut it. So I can slice the surfaces with the split face command. one here, one there, one there. So again, there are multiple ways how you can do that. In this sketch, I could go ahead and say I could draw a line here and there, and then essentially I have a vertical and a horizontal slice. But I don't have it from here, then I would need another sketch. So, which is why I don't do it that way. I will do it this way. I will select the top and the bottom. And then I say, make me a plane at the midpoint. You see? Because now what I can do is, there's this plane, I say split face, so you, and you, along this one. Thank you. Cool. Because this object was also designed perfectly centered, I can also now use the Z and X and the Z and Y plane. I will not do this on purpose. I will here go one step backwards. Before I did that splicing, and now I will simply go and do it this way and there, because I position these construction planes based on where my geometry also is. And then now I will continue with the cutting. You see here, I moved the time marker. Then, not split body, split face. So zack, 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 split by this one, right click, repeat. Zack, 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 by this one. Thank you. And the construction planes can hide. Oh no, one is missing that face. Yeah, this is beautiful. Cool. There's the front view. Very good. And I didn't necessarily measure this correctly or specifically. I don't know if this circle is perfectly centered on this square or actually on the square that would result after we cut this groove. That actually I don't necessarily really know. I assume probably after it was cut. So that's the reason why we will go ahead and call the pipe command. Because then, look at this. Oh, nope, nope, nope. We are selecting, this is way too big. What's going on here? Cancel. One more time. And then you have to hold on the Mac the command key, and I think on Windows it's the control key. So we add more elements to the edge selection. Distance is fine. Section size, that is pretty big, a millimeter, 0.5, so half a millimeter, it seems to me. Or maybe it is a millimeter. Yeah, let's go with a millimeter. Cool. Then right click, repeat. Now I will go along this line. By the way, this is not circular, this is square. Right click on this feature and we say square. So you see this cuts actually these grooves beautifully for us as a pipe command. Here we have to do this twice, one time that way, and then right click repeat pipe along there. Yep, very good. Then we can go to the front, and now we have these smaller rectangles. There now we can create everything for the scan, for the camera and the LED thing. I will do the LED one first. Here's my slot tool, click, click. So it's like left and right, center point, and then the diameter. Press escape, hide this, show that, bring this one down there. We can press D and then this line to here, let's say 3 millimeters. Right click and say pick circle tangent there to there, and we make this 10. Cool. How do we center this actually? Look, here's a line. There is the midpoint. There's the midpoint, escape. That's a construction line and a horizontal vertical. Now this is horizontally centered, not necessarily vertically yet. So there's the midpoint. Click and construction there. Easy peasy. Cool. With that there, I can go ahead and then there's this piece here. Now this is actually going to be a little bit a different case. Here we can cut in, but this has to be revolved. But ideally I want to find also there the center point. So I will draw myself a circle here first, okay? Now you see this. And then I will draw, well, actually I don't need a line, but I could say if I draw this line up, no, I don't find anything in this case because I didn't really create the sketch on that face. So I will go to project this and this into my sketch. There, you see, you go up and you go over and you guessed it. There, interestingly, yeah, so perfect, cool. Finish. Now here I have something which we can use to slice something into the piece. So we'll go to this, very good. Select those, go to extrude, and then cut this in. Let's say -3. How much doesn't really matter. It's anyway just more a prototype. And then here I would like this to, because now in terms of reality, we will bring this back 3 millimeters, but as a new body, because this is the LED piece actually. There. To assign a material, otherwise we could have just only sliced actually that surface. But how do we proceed here? I need to find a center line something. So easy peasy, we simply create ourselves an axis through the cylinder. There it is. There. Quite many construction planes. Then another construction plane along here. There. Sketch on that one. Then I will intersect this edge with the sketch. There. Go to a top view. And then I start. I think we went in 3 and there I actually don't know how far. So maybe click there first. I know a little bit this goes over and then this goes to there. Here I will try to, can I project this one in? Yes, I can. So this axis I brought in, you see now I can glue it to the axis. So you to you, coincident. Thank you. There we are. Perfect. I go to top view. Now it's a little bit easier to see. The scan is a little bit, how can I say that? Moved. It's not perfectly positioned. So here we'll make a horizontal line. This, for example, is just a construction helper. and then go to arc there. That should be it. Escape D, and then I say this point to here. 0.7, let's say 0.7, very nice. What's that angle here? 135, so that's 90 plus 45. And here to there, that is 1. Yeah, let's say 1. That is okay. You to you. That should be 4. It's maybe 3.5. Very good. Cool. Okay. This is a very simplified idea of the camera. Has the housing and the lens. Then we call the revolve command. Now you see this, for example, plugs in. Why do I model actually these elements having a socket to go in there? I mean, the main reason for that is if you 3D print different variations, you can take the buttons or cameras out and put the new one in. Good. So that was pretty easy. Let's take a look at the back. So here on that face, now I will create a sketch. I will hide all these buttons. There's my USB-C and my HDMI port. Click, click, click over there, 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 there. There are some specific dimensions for how they have to be designed. Could, for example, Google them. We will here just eyeball this a little bit because it's otherwise a little bit too much tedious work. How much is that? Ooh, that is actually too big, so we should make this more realistic. So 3 is fine. Right click U to U. Let's go with 9. Yeah. Okay. There to here. That's also a tick too big. I think the scan was a little bit too soft there. So maybe 4. Okay. And then we can change everything here a little bit. So this line to this line, I will make equal. U to U will be equal. U to U will be equal. Very good. So now everything is left and right is actually symmetrical. That is quite nice. How much do we have here? Let's say 9. No, let's go 10. Yeah, this has to be a tick shorter. And these we make 3. Yeah, these have to be really tiny, actually. 11, maybe 12. Yeah, 11.5. That gets a tick closer. Cool. Okay, how can I center those two? Very easy. There's the midpoint, there's the midpoint, there's the midpoint, there's the center point. You might notice the repetition between modeling strategies. That's a nice thing, actually. Once you realize how it works, it's pretty easy. Cool. Okay. Now to position them also in their respective rectangles, you see here I'm drawing from these blue corner areas. Careful these artifacts. I will draw myself here some lines, or I could also have projected these edges into the sketch. There's the midpoint, there's the midpoint, there's the midpoint, there's the midpoint, and then zack, 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 horizontal, zack, zack, construction. And then I only need to use either the midpoint or I go down here and say these two are equal. Flop. that should be close. Yeah, close enough. Clunk, 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 clunk. Then exit sketch, and we make some deep cuts. Kind of like that feels like really we can put something in there. Now later, here's a little tip, by the way. If we make these inside materials black, then always looks like deeper holes. So look at that. We are nearly done. We're getting there. We have to do the healing ducts. So I know 11 by 1, 2, 3 to 19. And then everything's beautifully lined up. Oh, that's a very complicated mathematical problem. How do we do this? Easy. Well, working smart, not hard. We select this face. Go to create sketch. Then we on one corner create a circle, 2 millimeters. Then we will go to a rectangular pattern, select this circle, drag it out, and drag it out. So here I said this will be, I think I said 11, so this will be 13. And these will be 21. And you see how we can drag this one out, but no, I want that to be perfect. Oh, because this edge actually is 72 millimeters. So I drag this pattern out really as long this edge is. And this one here is 35, 75, I think. Or can I click? Nope, 35, 50. So double click on this feature that gets back, and then there we just correct this. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. When we take a look at everything what we have, then to make things nice and easy, we can go and say select. Yeah, so what do we want to select? Do not select everything, but please select sketch surface. Nope, that's not it. Sketch profiles, and go to this view, window select, and then I drag over all this. There, look at that. And then we do an extrude and go nicely inwards. Let's say -6 again, make this nice and deep. Yeah, and then we have to do the same on the opposite. And that is actually very quick to do because this is a symmetrical object. We simply mirror over the feature. That is the feature. And we mirror this over across this center plane. Click OK. There. Cool. Okay. Last things to tidy up is selecting all the edges we would like to be kind of round. I was actually a little bit surprised to see how sharp some of these edges are, considering it's a toy for kids. Okay, 0.5. Yeah, that is fine. 0.5 millimeters. Cool. Now we can go to assign the materials or appearance. We can press A. Look at that. There we have everything. So I will to bodies and components. I will drag the white onto it first. This goes to there. There's also a black part. This is an LED. How do I do the rest? So now the question is, in the end, honestly, what's easier or quicker to do? No, maybe I go to this view and I hide everything what I don't want to work with. Okay, now you see that. Oh, hold on. There I will run into a little bit of an interesting issue. This is one big face, but only this area should be cleaned up. So I will go to split face and say that face, please split among that face. Extend splitting. There, now I have that edge. Beautiful. Right click, repeat. So you along this one. Oh, hold on. Because right click edit, because we are doing this to all, I'm adding these to that selection. I will shift and click on it. And I just would like to use this one and extend splitting. And okay, good, much better. Then again, we can go to A. So I don't want to overwrite everything. I just want to go to certain faces. So select faces, not the body. Select through is fine. Click and drag. Click and drag. No. Sometimes the selection system I find is a little bit finicky. Who knows? Let's see. See, that's not what I wanted. Left to right. Yeah, that is better. Left to right. There. It selected everything. So it was actually quite easy. Then here, this camera element in one version is yellow, and other versions actually reverse. So to the faces, and this one, and this one to the faces. Very good. This one will be yellowish too. We can also make this yellow if we want to. Or technically speaking, that's probably just the white material actually. So here, zack and zack and zack, zack. There, 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 there. Beautiful. Okay. The camera we need to do. So camera is actually quite interesting because it's glossy in a less glossy material. So the green here will duplicate, double click, go to a dark, and let's say NEX dark gray. Very good. I drag this one over there and there. Actually, I will do the body. Cancel. I don't, that's highlighted other objects. Yep. Okay, very good. No idea what that means. This is an LED. So let's go to Fusion. And where is the LED? LED. We can just write for it. 81 lumens, 20 lumens. Yeah, this is a low lumen, not watts. We measure the amount of light that's being emitted with lumen. Very good. So that is all good. This actually, this face has to be kind of like high glossy. And for that, we could Yeah, do we have a glass material color there? There, we put the glass on it. Okay, cool. Very good. Beautiful. So if we want to trick the system a little bit more, that's the glass. As you see, I just darkened these parts. So when we look into these areas, we don't see it as much. That's going to be interesting to select. I want to get all these elements in there. I will switch to the wireframe and then I press A, face, select all, body faces, just this. Yes, that's correct. But actually now I want to see what I'm doing here. Ah, there, beautiful. Cool. And one last here. Mm, 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 mm. Cool. Okay, there. Wonderful. There is actually now our next cube. Perfectly done, modeled, and textured. Ready to create a rendering for it. So let's talk about how do we present, render our product. And before jumping into any render application or so, I think it is, when you're a student, very useful to study how a product was presented. And here from the NEX website, I pulled multiple images. You see the top row are 3 images of the NEX entertainment system on a white background. From the front, slightly from the side, and then also from the side with the cap actually on it. On a nice white background, super easy. That's also what we are going to do first. The images are very easy to read. The lower line is a little bit more creative and interesting. For example, on the lower left, that is, you see, is a family setting. It's a photo. Photos are really ideal for this type because you can stage an environment. The girl is also jumping, the hair is moving. That is really complicated to do via 3D rendering. Um, and this image is very good to kind of like show this product in action. The only problem with that photo is that cube is really tiny in the photo. I mean, it is a small gaming cube. You don't need more. But also kind of cool are the comic additions to the photo. For example, playing basketball and the sound, things you wouldn't really understand without it. And then the lower two right photos zoomed in a little bit more, show the product in context. And the upper left and the lower right, you have a hand, and a hand is a really great element for scale reference to show how big or small that object is. So since we said the top two is something what we're going to do, let's go to Blender. But first we have to go to Fusion. In Fusion, we want to export actually our design, so the cube, and the format we are going to select is the US DC file, for example. We specify, or you specify where you would like to download it to or export, and click export. There it is. Then I go to the remote control and I do exactly the same. The nice thing about the USD exporter is it comes with the materials. Beautiful. Cool. Okay, let's go to Blender. So here in Blender, a few things what we want to do first. We will go to the render, set this to cycles, sampling we can set to 20, denoise also 20. Well, actually, we can even go 10 to make it faster, use GPU. And for the render, maybe 100 for the max. Okay, very good. Since we're working with units, let's go to scene, units, imperial, and we can work here with centimeters. Perfect. I have this rectangle in my default scene. I press X and delete it. Then I go to File, Import. Here's the USD importer. Navigate to where you have it downloaded to. There it is. Click Import. And one more time, there's a remote control. Cool. And zoom out a little bit. Everything looks kind of okay, but if I click, for example, this cube, that thing is huge. So we have to scale everything down. You see, it's 7,200 centimeters. So one very easy way to do is we select everything with A. You also see there are these interesting icons. So these are parented. And then we say parent, 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 clear parent. Okay, then we can select these two empties, press X and delete. Press A again, and then I shift left mouse button, click the main cube, go object, parent, simply parent it. It's a quick workaround. Click now only with the mouse, the game cube, and then look here, all this has to be 1 and 1 and 1. So, oh, actually, that's still a little bit too big. So, 0.1, still too big. 0.01. So that's actually the scale factor. 0.01, tab 0.01, enter. Then you can select everything and hold on 1 second, Fusion is beeping there. It stopped beeping. And then with all the stuff selected, we can press A. Then we will zoom into and reset our view. Then we will go to object with everything selected and say parent clear and keep transformation. You still see the scale is a little bit odd. And then we go object, apply, and scale. So now the scale factor is all set to 1. Beautiful. To make things easier to move around, we can select the pad, the LED, and the camera, and then shift click the GameCube, parent it. So when I then only click the GameCube, everything moves with it. You see. Let's hide all this stuff there. And then same with the remote control. What do we use first? Here, button, 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 housing, housing, shift click. The last one is the top. Control P, by the way, is the shortcut for that. There we are. And then we can click the top piece, move this to the side, maybe move this up a little bit. There, cool. And show all the rest. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. I have this one here set to 3D cursor. There. Okay, we can stage this a little bit. Now we want to have a nice transparent background, white background. So let's actually add a nice plane. There we are. It can be nice and big. The environment, however, we would also like to design. When we photograph an object. Even in a photo studio, we have an environment kind of like reflecting sunlight. I would like also to simulate the lighting inside the living room. So we need to download a nice indoor HDRI. In Google, for example, you can then Google or search free HDRI. Polyheaven is really perfect. We will go to the HDRIs, and here's indoor. Brown Photography Studio, for example, looks kind of nice. And then we don't really need a really high resolution. 1K is fine. Then click download and then drag it to where you're actually saving all your files for this assignment. Okay, so back to Blender. In Blender now, we will slice our interface. So I go to this horizontal border, right click, horizontal split. I said horizontal border, not vertical. Then we switch this to shader editor. Very good. Go to world, scroll wheel to zoom in a little bit. Middle mouse button, move this to the side. Add input texture coordinate. We can click and left mouse button drag this one out. Mapping vector is actually correct. Then add texture environment texture. This goes to there. Suck, suck. This goes to there. And then here in open, we load that HDRI file. There. Strength 1 is fine. We can keep it this way. And then to speed up our rendering, I will go to this border, right click, split vertical, press in the left viewport N and T. Then I can zoom in a little bit. Scroll wheel, I can scroll left and right and then turn on rendering. Cool. There it is. It looks already pretty cool. On the way, the LED is actually pretty bright. If we set this to 0, you see then that's only the LED creating that light, which means that's maybe a tick too strong. So let's work on the materials. I select my GameCube, go to the material, and then I need to see which one is emitting the light. And oh, this is an individual object, by the way. There it is. So I can also name this LED, for example. Cool. Go to emission and maybe 0.2. So it is there. It's just maybe 0.1. That is fine. It's very, very diffuse. Cool. Okay. If we go back and increase our background to 1, there we see it, and now it's glowing, it's pure white, but we don't have any of these annoying reflections anymore. We also have 2 bodies, and they always have the same material, so we can clean up and streamline everything a little bit. So here's my remote control, and let's say I call this one NEX Green. Okay, you use that. Yeah, and here, there, this is the remote control. I want that to swap out with the next screen. There. So that's cleaned up. This is actually the next gray, kind of like for the plugs, etc. If I go to here, so that is next yellow print, and this one is next yellow. And then here I flip this one out. I can actually type in next and then it sorts it for me. Cool. Here's also the white. That is actually next white print. A little bit of cleaning this stuff up later really helps a lot. Next, white. Going back to here, there. I just type in white and there it is. Pretty cool. Oh, there's, in my case, a material that was not applied correctly. Very good. So I can show you how to fix this. I go to edit mode. Then I go to view and start clipping 1 mm. I can now zoom in quicker. Then I go to face select, select this face. There's the green and I click assign. There. Oh, same here. Oh, I just realized. I think I forgot to do this in the tutorial. Oh, yeah. All good. Oh, they're triangles, so I have to be careful that we also select the other element. And green assign. Easy peasy fixed. This is a different model than the lecture demonstration model you see here. These are, in my case, not black. So I, for example, will go ahead back into edit mode, go to wireframe mode, and then I press B to select and select these faces, B middle mouse button to deselect that, B middle mouse button, I don't want those to be selected, B left mouse button, yeah, yep, very good, gray assign, scroll wheel, Z and solid, there it is, very good, cool, okay. Yeah, there you can see how these are a little bit darker. Sweet. So we need to add a camera. So for example, front, Shift A and add a camera. Then here we click on camera. Now we jumped into it. We don't see anything because the camera is at the center. We can move this back, move the camera up, go to top view, move the camera to here, press R and rotate it. There, beautiful. I would like to see more on top of the device. So I move the camera up to here. This is all correct. And then I will go to the camera feature, say maybe a 75, so a little bit more like a telecamera. I can press S to scale that icon down, go local mode, so I can move this along this rotation. And then I'm just shifting the camera down. Needs also further back, maybe a little bit up. Shift this over there. Frame this more. Beautiful. So for everybody who knows photography a little bit, we also have compositional guides, for example, thirds, etc. So here, this one, we can bring to there, bring to there. Now this is like where the fun stuff now happens. I could press R to rotate this, maybe show this a tick more, go top view, rotate it this way or that way, so it's not so artificial. G to move this back a little bit. Play with that composition. There, beautiful, cool. This backdrop is too small. In my case here, there it cuts over, so I make this bigger. I can select the camera and also turn this perspe to here. This is only what I want to see. Oh, that's actually pretty nice. We get some nice highlights here. Very good. If I turn the passepartout off for a second and zoom out, you see there's that environment. So light comes from there. That is pretty good. When we first created the texture coordinate system and then the mapping, we did this because when I rotate or left mouse button, click and drag, I'm rotating that image. So with that, I can then adjust if the light comes from the left, from behind, more from the front, from the left. I will actually turn the passepartout on again so I can just focus on it. This looks quite nice, for example, how the shadow goes over there, over the remote control. This is also quite nice. Cool. Okay. Because all objects have exactly the same materials, if we need to do a color adjustment, we can go ahead and play with this. Oh, yeah, we don't really see it. There you see we are adjusting everything at the same time. So this is actually quite nice. Beautiful. What we could do now is go to the render button, hit render, but before we do this, this is the size of the image. So 1920 by 1080 based on how big your image has to be. You need to calculate the amount of pixels you need because when we change this, this will then adjust, as you can see, the format. Let's also make another camera from the front. So I go to the front view, go to add, and then I go camera. There we are. We bring this back. Now I need to find the main menu. Actually, here, let's stop this. Scroll wheel, view, camera, set active camera, active object as camera. So this camera we will look through there. And when I press Z, then I can go back into rendered mode. I can move this up a little bit, change the camera 75, go in there, kind of cool. Maybe a little bit higher. Curious how this would look. There we are. 140 or 100 and like in this view is nice how it goes back to there. And if we now want to create a rendering of this with a transparent background but the drop shadow, so I can composite this later in a presentation, I want to do the following. So I will select this object, go to Object Properties, go to Visibility, and then there I tell it Shadow Catcher. Shadow Catcher is the common industry term for making an object transparent but catching the shadow. I don't want to see the background. So I could go ahead, go to Renders, then Film, and well, make the film transparent. Cool. So now actually everything is being rendered and transparent. So the two renderings I would like you to create, let's continue on this one, is I also would like now to colorize this background. Now, this is kind of like the cool thing about everything what you can do in Blender without having to jump to Photoshop. We will go now to the compositor. So think about the compositor kind of like, yeah, Photoshop, where we work with layers. Here's our render layer. There's our composite. I will add output viewer. I will add input constant and RGB value. This has a transparency, so I would like to add an alpha, no, not set alpha mix, alpha over there. Actually, this one we don't need. This goes to here, this goes to there, this goes to there. We don't really see anything there. So, oh wait, scroll wheel. Here, always. So with this, we turn on whatever we do here is showing up in our rendering. So look at this. Now we can change the colors of the background before we actually do a real rendering. So maybe a nice color like this. The drop shadow is really beautiful. There isn't really much of a shadow on the left side, more on the right side. So I will, in this case, select the camera and shift it over a little bit. So I capture more of the drop shadow here. So if I have to bring this into Photoshop, I have more material to work with. So with all that done, then let's simply go and hit render. So this one then is running from basically 1 to 100, and I will just wait for a moment. When this one is done, it basically calculates it. I will, in my case here, hit escape to make this quicker. Oh, I did not turn on GPU rendering, and also for this demonstration, I will set this to 50%. So this is a smaller image. There. Ta-da! Look at this, beautiful, no? So you see it rendered the image, and then it did actually that compositing for us. Then you can go and say save as RGBA or RGB. With the A, you have the transparency. Show you only want to have just a transparent background. So this is maybe NEX color. Then what we could do is we don't really need to mix anything in. We simply say here, there, this goes to there. The background is transparent. Render it. It crunches through it. There, it's done. You see nothing is done to the background. Save as, very important, have the A. So A for transparency. Transparent. And for the background, which we designed first, then we can go back to this camera, set active. The backdrop, then I do not want to be transparent. There we are, and hit render. Beautiful, cool. And this I can just let's have a ground plane. I can just render with RGB because I don't have a transparent background. Yeah, that's it. So in retrospect, or not in retrospect, in summary, I think you saw this was a pretty nice process of bringing two different models in and unifying the materials, designing the environment a little bit. Again, I used the photos also a little bit as a reference for the lighting and the background and the styling, and then setting everything up with camera, rendering a compositor to very quickly create these beautiful looking product renderings. That's it.